Hello everyone. Welcome to this session. I'm Thomas Burnichon. I'm with Ateme. I currently hold the position of VP of Innovation Strategy as part of our CTO office, and I'm here today to talk to you about NEXTGEN TV, and more specifically about how it brings enhanced experiences for end users, a new monetization revenue opportunity for broadcaster. So let's start with a few words about Ateme, and as usual, let's start with the why. So at Ateme, we work a lot to allow content to become more immersive for end users, more interactive as well, and that's a way to boost engagement, attract new customer, new end user to your services, keep them with engaging content. So that involves sending beautiful images out there, but also making sure they're preserved throughout the delivery pipe with smooth and flawless delivery. And this beautiful content, get it as personalized as possible to allow increased monetization potentials. Finally, we do all that as efficiently and cost-effectively as possible, so that our customer can reach all the full benefits of our software technology. So we are the video delivery leader. We are public since 2014. We just published our number from last year, which is above 90 million euro. We have a strong focus on sustainable growth, which means that among other tools, we use monthly recurring revenue to secure visibility over a long period of time and make sure we can finance our growth further. So this worked quite well since 2014 with a double-digit compound annual growth rate over that period. So now we are over 560 spread across the world. Most of our design is done in France, in both Paris and Rennes. And we have customers across the world. On the innovation side, we work a lot toward new technology, filing patents. So we currently hold 69 patents, and we continue to innovate and file more. To get you an idea of where we are through the delivery chain, it's basically everywhere. We start right at the beginning from the venue to getting the feeds back to the broadcaster and content providers and studios. So that's a primary place of use of our technology. But then we are present in the delivery chain downstream for primary distribution, for distribution to end user over satellite, cable, IP, internet. So those content providers can go direct and provide that to streaming platform or to MVPDs, the traditional cable satellite operators. And of course, last but not least, broadcast over terrestrial network is an important part of our customer base. So now getting more specific about ATSC 3, back in 2019, we started a relationship with Sinclair. We also have other customers like Gray TV in the US and many other broadcasters. And long story short, over the half of ATSC 3 stations here in NAM are using Ateme compression. So we are really happy about that, but this is a result of a long-standing commitment to the industry. So first, we did not achieve that alone. We work with partners and standardization bodies, interop forum, thinking ATSC, Pearl, NAB, and you can see demos on their booth. We'll get to that. We did interop Plugfest on various topics. This one here is in Santa Barbara, about digital ad insertion, about DRM, about closed captioning. Later this year, we'd like to organize one about accessibility testing. I feel that's a key explanation of our success is our willingness to first innovate, but do that with partner in an open way with new technologies. So, moving on to more recent news. On the ATSC booth, few yards from here, on booth W3443, you have a nice demo of enhanced audio accessibility, where we demonstrate how we can bring immersive experiences, in this case Dolby ATMOS in a 514 immersive mix. We can do that, but we can do that to all audiences, including people with hearing disabilities or difficulties, by allowing dialogue enhancement with something called Voice Plus on the ATSC market, and also to visually impaired audience with audio description. And keep in mind, we do that in an immersive Atmos mix. So you have the 514 experience, not only around you, but also coming up from the ceiling. And you have that either as a vanilla experience, you can have that without the commentary at all, if you want to feel like you're in the venue, or you can have that without the descriptive services on top, so that you understand better what's going on screen, or you can decide to turn a bit down the background of the event, so you focus on the commentary and have an easier time understanding the commentary. So you can see the press release here in the QR code, and I really encourage you to go stop by the booth. It's very close to here, and check it out. The second side of this demo, as you see there's two screens, is that instead of just doing that over ATSC3, we also do that through a mezzanine feed fed to Comcast as stream to be delivered over the internet to XI6 boxes. And a key aspect here is that there's a function collapse at the broadcasting station between their traditional broadcast encoder and a mezzanine encoder that would they use to feed MVPD and vMVPD. And my point is, what used to be separate encoders now is in the same single unit. Okay? So there's saving there to be had. Moving on to another topic, ATSC3. So this is a diagram courtesy of Yuri Gotchkens that tracks the ecosystem. I won't go into too many details, but HDR can feel overwhelming because there is a lot of competing format out there. HDR10, HLG as a base, and then for the dynamic aspect, you have Dolby Vision, Advanced HDR by Technicolor, you have HDR10 Plus. Well, while this can feel a bit overwhelming, the good news is that at Ateme, we are right in the middle, supporting all of them, so that you don't need to pick and choose. You can address whatever device your end user is on and maximize its consumer experience. And on our booth, W1517, you can see a demo of our HDR10 Plus experience. So it generated right from the Titan Live or transcoder. It's compatible with other formats, so you could have Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus. And I should also mention we do support Advanced HDR by Technicolor. It's actually what's being broadcast here in the ATSC3 station in Las Vegas. And Sinclair is live in, I think, over 36 stations in the US with Advanced HDR by Technicolor with us. So there's also the same demo on HDR10 Plus on the ATSC booth. Again, check it out, it's really nice. And what's nice about it is you can start from an HD stream in HDR, but you can also start from your traditional SDR stream. So we can generate dynamic metadata from an HDR feed, but we can also convert an SDR feed to HDR. Moving on, DAI, important topic. We have a white paper we released a few years ago. What I wanted to highlight here is that still the same solution we provide can allow you to use your old SCTE35 marker and turn that into MPD X-Links, which is a new generation ATSC-free way of signaling ad breaks. And once you send that over an ATSC-free chain, you can then have the receiver reach out to an ad server that will perform an auction for the ad, and with a higher price because it will be much more targeted. That result of an auction will be negotiated with a near composer. We propose to actually perform the ad break substitution on the ATSC-free device. Long story short, you end up with an ad that is more geared toward your target audience, and therefore you can sell it for a higher price. Talking about monetization workflow, you saw on the previous slide, this all work with an ATSC-free chain broadcast. But what happens if your customer is on a set-top box, or even an old school ATSC1 broadcast? Well, Sinclair just announced with other broadcasters like Great Television, Graham and Media Group and Capital Broadcasting, which is a link I put for you here, that they worked with Verance to come up with a watermarking called Aspect that is embedded in the audio and can be sent through ATSC-free, but also through all other traditional methods, including MVPD, VMVPD, all that. So as long as you have an end user device that can interpret those watermarks, you can benefit from the targeted aspect I mentioned earlier. So the ATSC-free benefit can go beyond an ATSC-free broadcast. You need an ATSC-free receiver, but this receiver getting feed, for example, from over the top, can still react to those watermarks and allow interactive things and first-party ad insertion. Okay? So again, that's about using those capabilities as much as you can and increase reach. And here in the PR, you'll see the extrapolation they make is that this technology allows to increase by a factor of 5 the number of devices you can target. Because not everyone is looking at TV through a ATSC-free broadcast. Moving on, some other nice feature we support, Scalable HEVC. With Scalable HEVC, you can basically transmit your signal into 2 layers, a base layer that is HD, SDR, and you can send that everywhere, makes the link very robust. But you can enhance that with a second layer that you could deliver over the internet. You could also deliver it over the air if you want, but with a reduced robustness, so that only people with good antennas get it, but you don't need to spend all the bandwidth so that everyone gets it. And with this enhanced layer that doesn't work alone, but when combined with the first one, you can get UHD. Even beyond that, we could at some point go beyond UHD. You can get HDR. And basically, you get best of both worlds. You get reach with the first one, and then the immersive experience and better experience with the second one, but without having to pay the bandwidth to deliver that twice to everyone. Make sense? And getting closer to the end of the presentation, I'll talk about new aspects we are introducing. One thing. Oh, sorry. Moving back to NEXTGEN StatMux. So, as some of you might know, in ATSC-free, we don't use MPEG TS anymore. We moved on to Dash. And the traditional way of handling this dash was to send that to a root server, to convert it to a root, and then move on to a broadcast gateway and send that. The problem when you have this approach is that it's a bit inefficient in a way that the root server can only act based on dash segment boundaries. So it gets the signal segment by segment and need to adapt its rate control based on those segment sizes. Well, on our encoder side, we have more information. We know how those segments are made, or individual frames are in there, how big are they, and we have timing information on all that, and we can move on to our own root server to actually leverage that and make better and more efficient rate control decision. And that allows you to save on bandwidth. We're talking at least 20% of saving here. And then you will move on. You can still use your traditional guide builder in root. You can then move on to the broadcast gateway. And by adopting this next generation statement approach, basically you're saving on your network capacity. And that's really big because you can get more services in, but also really big because you can start offering more data casting options. Because freeing up bandwidth can be used for more video signal, but that can also be used for data. And more and more broadcasters are looking toward this as a new monetization potential of their bandwidth. Finally, I would even add that this NEXTGEN StatMux can allow to reserve rates. So you could actually define windows where you want to do those data casting, but then spin it back down to get more video, and kind of on demand decide how much data you want to distribute based maybe on the time of the day, maybe on the price of those data, and those kind of things. Understood? And I'll conclude on that. All those new approaches, they are best when combined, and that's exactly what we do here by actually defining a broadcast appliance. So one unit, very well defined, that you can service easily and deploy easily. And it's running on commercially off-the-shelf hardware, so nothing fancy there, which also helps for cost. And in there, you can deploy multiple elements, including from Ateme, but also from third party, like in this case from Enhancys. So everything I presented before can be collapsed in the single unit. And that's, again, a function collapse that brings you cost efficiencies. So we are open to work with more partners. And the idea here is to really make the life of our customer easier by having less units to maintain in their ecosystem. Okay? And that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I again encourage you to go check ATSC booth, the Ateme booth down the hall. Can't miss it. Check it out. It's interesting demo there. Appreciate your feedback as well. Send me an email or contact me, and we can discuss a bit after this presentation as well. Thanks for your attention today, and have a nice show.